MPC 3 for everybody. Everybody complained, and Akai listened. They said, you know what? We're just going to release it. Let them fix the bugs for us. You know, if we put it out there in the world, they'll go through it. They'll find it. They'll make it better for us. And they shipped it. And guess what? For all you people who is out there worrying and stressing and losing sleep at night, all you guys who were crying yourself to sleep, you know, because you felt like they created an invisible line between you and the influencers, now you got it. Now you got it. Hopefully you're happy now. What's going on, guys? It's your brother OTG. The OTG's for Overtime Grind, hardly seen, and I'm always around. And today we are on the MPC Live 2 with the MPC 3 beta software that is driving the Kai community crazy. And this is the first 10 minutes. So I know that I like to joke, I like to play around, and a lot of you guys get in your feelings and emotions because you know you're sensitive and you feel like, oh my gosh, why is he making fun of me? You'll be okay. You'll be okay, bro. Tough skin. You'll be all right, you know? And I'm going to talk about my first impressions in the first 10 minutes. So you can see I just kicked it off with the kit that they gave us, this trap kit. I just got busy with it, you know. First thing that I noticed is that it's super colorful, and I like some of the way that it's set up. I like the way that it looks a little bit, just a little bit, you know. Major changes across every single screen. And I see the vision, Akai. I see what you're trying to do. You know, from what I see, from where I sit, it looks like they are catering to the majority user base who has a hard time finishing beats. You know, and they are also trying to capture the base of people who are addicted to the computer and piano roll editing. And that's dope. That's dope. I understand it and I get it. And two things can be true at the same time. I can see why this is dope for the people who have issues with arrangement. I could see why this is dope for the people who have a hard time going through menus and, you know, building up the practice or their own workflow to know how to get things done in their own way and just kind of need this guided way of doing it. But for me, make sure you stay to the end. But for me, you know, first I have the Force. And so now finally getting my hands on the MPC3 software, it just feels like the Force on the MPC. And to me, that's it seems like it's a whole lot in one place that I personally didn't need, but I understand the MPC, you know, Roger Lynn programming setup. I've been on it so long that the old setup just makes sense to me. And this setup, while I see some value in it, I don't really need the arranger because I can arrange in the old method, either using song mode or utilizing the one sequence method. And I really like my track mutes. You know what I mean? I prefer having my track mutes than the new software. And I rather have my track mutes than have to do destructive editing while I wait for them to create the update that has the track mutes in it. So, that's a big glaring problem that I have, because that definitely is a major part of my workflow, and it helps me create different arrangements without having to destruct it. But my bigger issue that I ran into with the MPC3 software is that I only had 3 plugins and the kit that was preloaded, and I ran out of space. Like, I ran out of memory, and that's something that I don't encounter too much. And I use the plugins a lot, and I definitely use more than 3 plugins. Sometimes I'm up to 5 or 6 plugins, and to make it to 3 plugins and 1 drum kit, I don't really know if I like that. It says that when you duplicate the tracks, so when you clone the track so you can put your claps or something on a different track, or your hi-hats on a different track, allegedly it's supposed to pull from the same pool of samples. It's not supposed to double them or use up your memory. But from what it looked like to me, it might have doubled and used up my memory. I don't know what it did, but not having enough memory to even loop my simple beat out to try to create an arrangement, that's another red flag for me. And maybe they'll address it all by the time they put it out, but I actually use my MPC to create music on a regular basis. I use it. It's a tool in my toolbox for my job, and I don't know if I could stick with, certain issues, destructive editing, and not being able to have track mutes and lower limits due to the way of how the setup is. Like, I'm okay with 2 gigs of RAM. I've made hundreds and hundreds and hundreds of beats with 2 gigs of RAM and had more than enough space. So to run into the brick wall in the first 10 minutes of no space, and then also understanding that I won't be able to do my 1 sequence method, those 2 things cause an issue for me. And for me, I like 2.15. It does everything that I needed to do. And so the executive decision that was made here is that the MPC 1s will stay on 2.15. The live, I'll keep it on there for about, 14 or 15 days. I'll check it out thoroughly. But early on, there's some things that I don't like. Hit the pencil, try to double. Not enough memory. What? There's only 3 plugins in the drum kit. And the sounds that I'm using, I've used 100 times with way more sounds. But look, we're maxed out. When I purged unused samples, we didn't gain any space. And so there's some things like that that are a little problematic for the OTG workflow. But here's the positives. I think that Akai is changing the game and what you can do standalone. I think that they are pushing the culture of producer hardware to the next level. I think that they are creating a line in the sand to kind of get away from that Roger Lynn programming and step into more of what they consider a 2024 DAW click, point and click, piano roll kind of producer class. And I think they're going to be successful. I think they're going to get a lot of people to leave their software DAWs to come over to hardware. And at the end of the day, I think people being inspired is always amazing. So for me, this was kind of cool, but it just made me appreciate my force It made me appreciate 2.15 and not having these limitations. I just like I like the 2.15, and I can't see myself staying in the 3 software if I got to go through and destructive edit. So that's my take. Hopefully you found some value. It's your brother OTG.